So in order to resolve your emotional eating, you need to do this. So if you're new here, welcome. My name is Michelle. I'm a certified holistic nutritionist specializing in emotional eating. And in order to resolve your emotional eating, you need to do this specific thing. And it's something that's often confusing when you're an emotional eater because you feel out of control with food and you want to control food. You want to, use the diets, and maybe you're controlling food or how much you eat by exercising, or maybe you've gone to therapy and it's still not shifting the pattern. So you want to control the food, but because you want to control food, you don't know how to actually meet your nourishment needs. And this is going to become really important as I share with you. So emotional eating is a coping mechanism. It's something that we do when we are stressed, when we are overwhelmed with emotions, when we're feeling discomfort. It's our coping mechanism, and we would have developed this from childhood. And so we're going towards food to soothe ourselves, to numb out from the pain or the discomfort. And so it looks like I'm out of control with food. And at the same time, it's hard for us to know how to nourish our bodies because we feel so out of control with food. We don't know what hunger looks like. We don't know when we're actually hungry. And so we think we're always hungry. And so we're going towards the food. And so what you need to understand about emotional eating is that, yes, food is what we're seeing. And there's something deeper going on because it's a coping mechanism. It's not actually, it's like a Band-Aid. It's a substitute to meeting your true needs. It's not going to actually take away the stress or the discomfort for very long. It's just a surface solution. And if you're not able to know when you're actually hungry from when you're emotionally hungry, so you're going to fall into this trap. And so that's why you need to understand what are your nourishment needs when you have this pattern. And so when I'm working with clients, there are multiple levels to your emotional eating. If you were to see a nutritionist, they're going to try to help you nourish your body. If you go to see a therapist, they're going to try to talk to you about your issue. And if you go to someone who's personal training, everyone is giving you a small piece of the puzzle. Because I am a holistic nutritionist and I also am trained in somatic psychotherapy, I see all the layers of the pattern. And so what I've noticed with clients and what I notice with myself is that we have to be able to discern true from emotional hunger. But in order to do that, we need to know how to nourish our bodies. We need to know that we are eating enough. We're not depriving ourselves. We're not falling into diet mentality. And we're not eating because we think we should or we think we shouldn't. We're eating because our body's actually asking us to eat food. And then we can see when we're emotionally triggered. That's the second part. So when I'm talking to women, it's hard for them to discern that. They might think, yes, I feel like I'm an emotional eater, but I'm not quite sure. Am I eating because of X or Y or Z? And they're asking me. And in order for me to understand what they're actually doing, I have to look at how they're eating throughout the day. If they're actually tuning in, they know what hunger looks like in their body. Are they eating when they're hungry? And are they eating in a way where it is satisfying them? It's digesting well. It's feeling good in their body. It's energizing them, because that's going to be important. When I say nourish yourself, I don't mean just go out and eat whatever comes to mind, because if you're an emotional eater and you have cravings, you're going to pick anything. Your body hasn't learned what deep nourishment feels like, and that's something you have to learn. And so when I'm working with clients, this is the first layer. We start learning how to nourish their bodies. And I have a specific protocol that I guide them through. It's not a restrictive diet or anything like that, but it's learning how to, tap into the hunger cues of your body, noticing how foods digest in your body. So when, after a certain amount of time, you might be hungry. Let's say you have something like fruit. Fruit digests really quickly. So you could have some fruit and you'd probably be hungry in an hour or feel like it. Your stomach would be empty because fruit leaves the stomach very quickly. But something like if you were to eat a steak or something more animal protein like, it's going to take several hours for that to digest. And so it might take up to, depending on the quantity you eat, many, many hours. And we don't want food to stay in our body for that long because of digestive reasons, because of waste reasons, all of these different things that are important to understand about nourishing yourself. I'm not going to go into the details here because everyone's going to be specific and learning your pattern is going to be specific. But what I will share is that when I'm working with clients, we are learning how to tap into true hunger. We're noticing the meals they're eating and if they're satisfied with that meal. And then a lot of clients worry about they're hungry all the time. So you might actually be hungry, if you have a large salad at lunch with some quinoa and avocado, like 3 hours later is acceptable to be hungry because that's usually the amount of time it takes for that type of meal to digest in the body. And so if you have a small amount and you're hungry 2 hours later, an hour later, then you probably need to eat more food. And this is something that a lot of women struggle with because we've been inundated with so much diet mentality and restriction. We think we should eat this small amount or that's enough. And we're not really tuning into satisfying our hunger and eating the quantity that's going to satisfy our stomach, because our stomach has something called stretch receptors that tells us we're actually physically full. So learning to truly nourish your body is going to be a key step, and then it's going to become more and more obvious when you're emotionally eating. And so you can feel that you're emotionally eating. With food, there is a little bit of a caveat here. Let's say that you don't eat throughout the day and you've restricted yourself. That pushes you into having a lot of mood imbalance and mood issues, and you will want to eat a lot of food because you've restricted yourself so much and not nourished yourself throughout the day that you feel like you're emotionally hungry or ravenous. And that's because you've restricted throughout the day. But that can also be a buildup because of stress. And so there are many layers to this pattern, but I'm going to keep it simple here. You want to be nourishing your body throughout the day. You want hunger to be building up slowly. You want to eat foods that are digesting well, and you feel satisfied with them. And then that's how you're going to know you're emotionally hungry. I can usually see it really quickly when I'm looking at clients' food and mood journals and see their pattern very quickly. And then when you are emotionally eating, then it's doing the work to really meet your true needs, get into the body, start resolving the root of this, the emotions that are coming up that are tied to past traumas, to things in childhood that are really running this pattern. And when you're able to do that, that's how you're going to get to the other side of emotional eating. This is something we really need to understand. When we emotionally eat, I find that women either do the diets or the exercise, or maybe they do a bit of talk therapy, or they're doing things really scattered and the pattern doesn't come together. Because if you're working with a therapist, they send you off to a nutritionist and no one's talking to each other to really see the pattern and to make it holistic and integrative and about you. And that's something that I've seen before. And I personally don't like that. You need to have all the different layers. And that's why when I'm working with women, I'm looking at each of these layers for them. I can support them in each of these layers, in nourishing their body, in moving through the trauma and the somatic part and the limiting beliefs, and helping them create something that works for their body, in a more holistic way, which gives them really powerful transformational results. And so this is something that's really important. And this is why when I'm working with clients in the Emotional Eating Evolution program, we are looking at how do you truly nourish your body, and moving through that while seeing where are you triggered into your emotional eating, and looking at those different triggers around, body acceptance, around accepting of your emotions, around having these really rigid diet rules. And so we're working through all of that to get to a place that is, for lack of a better word, authentic for you, that is in alignment with your body, that is meant for you. And when you get to that place and you start working with it at that level, it's something that your body is going to exhale at. You're going to feel good. You're going to feel like, oh, I'm not broken. I just need to eat in this certain way for me, not for someone else. And that gives you a lot of liberation around food. And then we're doing the deeper work so you're not attached to food to want to emotionally eat the food. What I've seen really works for clients. And then on the other side of that is literal ease and confidence around food and in your body, and this openness to life, this openness to moving forward, because you're no longer constantly obsessing about food or your body or trying to micromanage yourself. You trust yourself more, you trust your body more, you start meeting your true needs. And so this doesn't become an issue. For me personally, when I was going through this, I remember the struggle that I was in all the time for many, many years. And that's what pushed me to really find a solution, because it felt like torment that I was constantly second guessing myself in food and trying to control all of these things. And on the other side of that, I don't really think about food in the same way. I don't have that attachment to food. I eat when I'm hungry. I can't go to food when I am stressed or emotional. Food is very nourishing and comforting, and it can be when we really know our true needs in terms of foods, in terms of our emotional needs, in terms of all of these other needs that are below this coping mechanism. So I hope this has helped you see that there are sort of two layers we need to move through. We need to really start learning to nourish our body, to start pulling out where we're emotionally triggered and we're emotionally hungry, so that we can really resolve this pattern. And when I'm working with women with emotional eating, they tend to have not been taught how to tune into their hunger, tune into their body, and they've been using food to cope. And so there is this big missing piece that I see. So if you want to get started on this journey, the perfect place for you to start getting a handle on this and starting to see true versus emotional hunger is my free guide called What Are You Truly Hungry For? You will learn what true hunger looks like and emotional hunger, and it'll also give you some questions about when you're triggered, so you can start really seeing the pattern. And then if you want to dive in deeper, you want that support so I can look at your patterns and look at what's going on, your triggers, then I'd love to invite you into my program, the Emotional Eating Evolution Program. This is a 12-week container where there is a step-by-step process. There's lots of support and guidance, one-to-one sessions, and the in-depth tools to really get to the root of this pattern so that you can get to ease and confidence around food and in your body in a sustainable way. So the links for both of those will be below. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, please let me know. Please be sure to like and subscribe, and I look forward to sharing more with you, and I hope you have a great day.